Greetings. How are you doing? This is Will Copeland coming with a report on Day 5 of the World Social Forum Free Palestine. Very happy to be here to give a short, brief report back on the activity so far. It's really been an amazing experience, very powerful delegation to be a part of, the U.S., Canada delegation for joint struggle. One of the themes that has been coming up a lot in this delegation is really pushing the status quo further. Not just the status quo of society in general, the status quo of oppression, but also the status quo of activism. For example, one of the Palestinian comrades talked about the Palestine solidarity industry, talking about how it's cool to be in solidarity with Palestine, talking about many organizations, folks, and collaborations don't necessarily develop a social critique within their own society, but are rushing off to Palestine in order to show solidarity. We talked about flipping that dynamic and really talking about communities that are in struggle having solidarity, relationship, strategic conversations, sharing situations and information with each other. That goes a lot further than solidarity being something that privileged communities, privileged individuals choose to do. Rather, it goes down to the reality of our struggles and the reality that our struggles are made stronger as we exchange with each other. Another theme is we've talked a lot about pushing our own movements further in the United States, not coming from a perspective that takes the state for granted and assumes that the state is a stable and dynamic entity. Really looking at the reality of settler colonialism and the fact that these states that we live in, for example, the United States, are illegitimate and temporary projects, and how do we include our organizing and our day-to-day organizing that takes this long-term perspective. We have an opportunity because we see with the formation of Israel, which is, 60-something years old, we see with the formation of Israel what the process of settler colonialism looks like. So we don't have to go to the history books and conjecture or hypothesize. We see this violent process of state formation, and we know that we've been a recipient of hundreds of years of this violent process. Lastly, we have been talking a lot about our own liberation movements in the United States, particularly the repression of the late 60s and 70s that led to the assassination and imprisonment of many of our leaders. We talked about how this has created a gap within our communities. It's created a gap that our struggles in some ways are weaker. Our struggles in some ways aren't as connected. Our generations aren't as connected with each other. It's left a gap in which, instead of the leadership in these solidarity movements coming from our communities, it's a gap, so it's filled by other more privileged and less holistic groups coming in to fill that gap and defining what solidarity is. So we talked a lot about our own liberation movements in this country and how do we advance and push our own liberation movements forward. It's been a very dynamic, very great experience. Just wanted to share these comments, and I am signing out for now. See you tomorrow.